The new Shannon Class lifeboat is here. I've got one a little bit early. Find out what's inside the box right here on Gary's Stuff. Hi, I'm Gary. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today I'm looking at the new RNLI Shannon Class lifeboat starter set from Airfix in 1/72nd scale. I went to the press launch the other day and picked up a copy of it. So I've got it about a week before it goes on general release in the UK. So I'm in a good position to show you what you're going to get for your money. If you like what you see today and you'd like to support the channel at no cost to yourself, best way to do that is by subscribing and hit that bell and you'll be notified of all my future content as it is published. If you see something and you like it, please do also remember, give it the old imperial thumbs up on the like button below because every like counts. And if you'd like to make a more concrete contribution to the channel, you can do that by using any of my online affiliate programs. Now, normally at this point, I would be saying, hey, why don't you also go through the Airfix online store and use my affiliate link, and then Airfix have to give me some money for the channel, but based on what you spend and at no extra cost to you and all of that, which is all very good. But here's the thing, as it's the lifeboat, please, why don't you try and see, if you've got a lifeboat station somewhere near you, because a lot of lifeboat stations are going to have these. Also, check out the RNLI's own online store. They will be having this model in the store as well. I say that because, as well as the 90p that Airfix give per kit, if you go through any of their actual trading links, then they also get the markup, the trader's markup that's in every kit as well. If you can't do that, then obviously go to your local store if you have one, or then maybe check out my affiliate link. But for preference, try and buy it through the RNLI because they get a bigger cut of the cake and they are entirely funded by donations. Okay, let's make a start and have a look at what you get for your money in the box of the Airfix RNLI Shannon Class lifeboat, a new starter set in 1/72nd scale. So here's the box of the new lifeboat, RNLI Shannon Class lifeboat indeed. It's in 1/72nd scale, it's from Airfix, and the product code here is A55015, which means it's a gift set. Now, this means that if you've got flying hours tokens, you can't swap them for one of these. However, you can still use your hobby reward points if you have some of those collected to offset the cost, or indeed pay the whole cost, apart from the postage apparently. So quite dramatic piece of box artwork there, showing a RNLI Shannon Class in its usual environment, which is in horrendous seas going off to rescue people. Interesting point here is that there's a tag that says a minimum of 90p from the sale of this product will be paid in support of the RNLI. So that's a good thing. It's a minimum, remember. There are ways of maximizing that we'll talk about later. On this side here, there's a brief description of the Shannon Class boat. There is a thing here that says the kit, when it's made, will be 190 millimeters long, 63 millimeters wide, and there are 54 pieces. So a little bit more than the normal starter set, which tend to be around 30. But there's all these railings and all sorts of bits and pieces that we're going to make, which are fine. The details of how the money goes to the RNLI from the kit is here. Over here, it's skill level 1, so if you haven't made a kit before, you should be able to make this without any major issues. There's a link to the Airfix Club here if you want to become a club member, and if you are in the Airfix Club, then there's a flying hours token here. You can collect those flying hours token towards a free kit in the future, provided it's not a starter set or a gift set. Essentially, most things, though, in the main range, you can use those. If you're not going to collect those, whether you're in the club or not, do please consider sending these to another charity, which is Models for Heroes. A link to M4H is in the information box below. It's my favourite charity, so please think about that. On this part here is the hanger, as they call it. This is the bit that sort of hangs it on the display in the shop. And here you can see it says you get a tube of polystyrene cement, you get 2 paint brushes in this one, and you get 6 acrylic paints. This is part of the reason why it's that little bit more expensive. There's more parts. There's 2 paintbrushes and 6 paints instead of the usual 4. On the back of the box is the layout of the paints and the decal schemes. And yeah, this is what we expect a lifeboat to be: dark blue hull, bright orange top, and these are the colours that come with it. So 15 is this dark blue, 18 is this orange, 27 is this grey on the deck, 33 is black, 34 is white, and 56 is the aluminium used in some of the railings and the upper works here. But all of those are included, and those are Humbrol paints. Okay, let's have a look and see what we get inside the box. The box, as is the way with all the starter sets from Airfix, is a side opening box, not the usual top opening box. So let's have a look at all the bits and pieces we get inside. So we have a big plastic bag with all of the parts on their frames here. We have a bag with the paints and with the polystyrene cement. We have our 2 brushes, a number 0 and a number 4 Humbrol brushes here. And then we have the instruction sheet. Inside the instruction sheet is the decal sheet. So these are the decals. We'll have a look at those in a bit. There is this flyer that goes into all starter sets, which actually is a good idea, I think, which is some basic instructions, some basic ideas of how to put kits together, about clipping them off the frames, about using a nail file or something to get rid of the rough bits on the edges, using tape or pegs to hold them together while they set, things like that. The tools that they think are going to help you most are up here. Nail file, yes, tweezers, scissors, clippers, a small handheld drill, tape, and pegs. Then there's the instruction sheet itself, which we will have a look at in a bit more detail, along with everything else, in a moment. This is frame A, and it contains a few things. This is the support frame. In the factory, that's how they move them around on these frames. It's actually your display frame as well, which is inspired by what they use in the factory. There's some aerials and things like that on here. And these are, I don't know if those are part of the jets, but just some sort of smaller ancillary parts really on frame A. Frame B starts with these parts. These are parts of that's the wheelhouse. This is the back end with the outlet for the jets. These are internal strengthening frames. There's this piece which is part of the exterior, which was supposed to be on there, but it's come off. Part of the wheelhouse, actually, we saw being built the other day. That's part of frame B. Then, according to the instructions, frame B also includes all the large parts, like the 2 halves of the hull, the main deck with all the seating, and then the structure of the wheelhouse itself, are all listed as parts of frame B. Then frame C, essentially these were mainly all the railings and a few other bits of fitments around the boat, but most of these are railings. There is a transparent frame as well, and you'll notice here that all of the windows for the front of the wheelhouse come as a single part. Now the idea is that you paint the wheelhouse in that lovely orange colour first, then this whole piece just sort of slides in underneath and clips into place. You don't need to glue it at all. It's an ethos that's used widely in these starter sets. It's trying to remove the need for glue on anything clear, so we don't get that old frosting and things like we used to, all of us used to do when we were really young starting out. Too much glue all over the frame makes it all frame, and also the fumes as it goes off could sort of fog the plastic. Here you complete the wheelhouse, then you clip this part in, and there's another piece here as well. We have a closer look at the plastic. It's all very nicely moulded. The texture there is very slightly unpolished because the textures on here, on the actual thing, it's roughened, but I don't think it's roughened to the same degree or to the same scale effect. I think most of the parts come as roughly like this anyway, to be honest. But yeah, all of the points for the stanchions for the railings are all very nice, with each got like the retaining bolts on them, or the heads of the retaining bolts. They're nicely molded. Yeah, the hatchways are okay. You know, they've noticed that this one's got extra or sort of holes in the top for some reason. Maybe ventilation, I don't know. And then the seats, they're fairly basic, but this is a starter set, remember. This is a starter set. So these seats, the points that all contain multifunction displays and things like that to help the crew do whatever their job is on the actual boat. Underneath you can see the large ejector pins have been ground out, so they're not going to interfere with anything. So that's all very good. It's clean enough. There's no flash that I can see on these large parts, and there's no sort of thermal banding either, so the injection's quite clean and consistent. Here we have the hull. They did point out that with these chines here especially, they're not quite right because they do actually project a little bit further out, but that would prevent the part coming out of the mold, and they'd have to invest in slide molds just for that one part. But by taking them back just a little bit to change their angle, it means these will come out of the mold cleanly, and therefore the price can stay reasonable. But the general lines are very nice indeed. Again, it's a starter set. We're not looking for too much detail in there, but there's enough. And again, the moulding is very clean. There's no thermal lines, no stretching, no discoloration. If we look at some of the more delicate parts, like the railings, they've all moulded very, very well. There's no undershots here that I can see at all. There's not actually there's not too much of a mould line either. Normally you'd have a line down the middle of these where the two halves of the mould are touching, and it's not bad at all here. The moulding of the little pierced metal there is very pretty. The only thing I would say that for a starter set, getting these off of the frame may be a bit more challenging than some people think. So if you are going to get these, definitely invest in a pair of nippers to help you take these off the frame. Then really not expensive. Local hobby shop will have them. You can get them online. They're really not expensive, but you will need something that doesn't put too much strain as you nip these off of the frame. But we'll have a look at that a little bit later when we get to the build video of how we're going to do this and how we're going to clean these up. This will take a lot of care, which in a starter set I think could be asking a bit of some people, but especially the very, very younger modeler. They seem large enough to be robust anyway. I mean, they are probably maybe slightly out of scale, but that robustness is what they need because this is, as I say, a starter set. The decal sheet is here. The registration of this particular boat is 1301, which is Jock and Annie Slater. All the cheat lines and things like that all here. This, I guess, is going to be interesting for a beginner to try and put down, but I'm sure it won't be difficult. As I say, we will find out when we come to make it. And the colours are all very nice. I'm sure the lifeboat people had to sign off on all these colours in here, the depth of the blue and the reds, to make sure, and the exact layouts. I'm sure they had to have their say. And there's a few other bits and pieces of stuff on there, which just to make it look like a little bit more authentic. And here, as usual, a 0.5mm diameter pencil lead. We can see the detail in this flag. The RNLI flag is absolutely lovely, very clean. I can't tell you whether that's the new Tudor crown for His Majesty the King, or the former crown for Her Majesty the Queen. I guess at this scale it's really impossible to tell, and actually not that important, but just thought it was there. Here we go, extra little bits and pieces like something to do, I guess, one of the hatchways that they want closed up. The text has got like a slight drop shadowy effect on it, as they do for real, and like a health and safety script here, no doubt. So the decals, nice colour, nice density, nice and sharp, and a plentiful enough number for a starter set, I think. Also available from Airfix with this release, this will be available at the same time as an extra. Obviously you have to order it and pay for it separately, is an expanded decal sheet. Now this has the decals for all 50, the first 50 Shannon Class lifeboats that have been commissioned. As I record this in June 2024, there are in fact 52 that have been commissioned. But anyway, here we go. The first 50 boats here and where they are based. So you can actually look up your local or your nearest Shannon Class boat and find out what its number is and what its name is. And then you can make it with the correct decals. Now, Airfix do say they will expand these from time to time. As I say, they actually make commission a new Shannon Class boat every 12 weeks or so. So by the end of this year, I'm guessing there's going to be several more that will be available. So they may well reprint these. They haven't printed many of these sheets because they know they're going to keep reprinting them in the future. So all of the markings for the actual boats, the name tags on the boats here, all the numbers. So you've got the 13 for the class, and then you can have whichever number you like there. And these yellow ones are for the nameplate that's on the side of the mounts, the display mount. So all there, the first 50 at least are all there. Looking at the paint pots that come supplied, you have a pot of number 15, Humbrol 15, which is a dark navy blue. You have number 18, which is the orange. You have number 27, which is like a mid-grey. 33, which is black. 34, which is white. And 56, which is a metallic aluminium colour. You also get 2 paintbrushes in the set. Humbrol number 4 here is the larger brush, better for painting the hull and the deck and the wheelhouse, things like that. And number 0 is this one, which is a much smaller brush, and that's really for picking up details and doing any tiny little bits of edging. And you get a tube of polystyrene cement to glue it all together. Now do be warned that this nozzle here is actually quite broad, so you might want to think about maybe using a stick, or a cocktail stick or something, to apply dabs of glue rather than use this, because it will let a lot of glue out in one time. So for the smaller parts, maybe use a bit of a cocktail stick or something like that to apply it. Then you have the instruction leaflet, 1/72 scale starter set, RNLI Shannon Class lifeboat. The description of the boat and its specifications are here in English and French. On the inside, they're in Spanish, German, and Swedish. The difference between this and a mainstream kit is this warning is much bigger on these starter sets. Not suitable for children under 8 years, for use under adult supervision. Read the instructions before use and then follow them and keep them for reference. That is good general guidance. Now, important thing is, do make sure you wash the parts first in just some warm water with a little bit of, say, a washing up detergent or something like that. Rinse them and allow them to dry thoroughly. The surfaces sometimes have a release oil on them from when they're manufactured. That oil will stop the paint from sticking well, so make sure they're nice and clean first. and stir the paints thoroughly before use. Well, yeah, you should anyway. Okay, the instructions continue on the inside. So I say with German, Spanish and Swedish, some general things about here, studying the drawings. Practice assembly first, and that's like dry fit everything. That's very important. There's little frame maps as well to remind you where bits are that you may be looking for from the instructions, although we'll see later they're actually very good at that. Sometimes there is little sort of nubs that go on the outside on the instructions. They colour them this sort of lilac-y mauve colour. They have to be taken off before you actually try and assemble anything. And then the instructions to start with a quick this is what these instructions mean. And then on we go. It starts with the support base, which, as I say, is modelled on the one that they actually use in the factory. And the parts you can see here, this is A1, A2, and A3. It shows you on the A frame, which is A1, A2, and A3 here. So you can compare that to the frame that's come out of the box. Anything yellow is where they're suggesting you apply glue for the construction. Again, these parts are all listed here. And so it continues. One thing you will notice, and it's a nice touch, is that we've previously used 3 bits of frame A. They no longer appear on these little frame maps. So it's not like you just repeat the frame map and just show where the numbers. This is what the frame map should look like once you've taken the 3 bits off the frame to make the support. And that's a really clever way of thinking, is to show people what the frame should look like at this point. I think that's excellent. There we go, making the wheelhouse again. You should be painting this first and then putting the transparent part in, remember. Well, that doesn't actually, oh, yes it does. Well, it says that's, it doesn't actually, so it should say that. Please paint this before putting in that. I think they should say that anyway. They do suggest a tiny amount. I wouldn't bother with this glue at the top. I'd bother just with these tiny tabs of glue because it should click into place. You just want to retain it and then let it dry thoroughly before you go on to the next step. Other than that, it's all very, very straightforward. Again, these rails are the things that are going to most likely cause problems, and by no means insoluble. They're by in no means impossible to do. They just do need a lot of care, I suspect. But I'll find out when I try and make it. And there we go. When it's ready, it can sit on its little stand. On one side of the stand, you've got something saying Shannon Class Lifeboat. On the other side of the stand is where the name of the lifeboat can go, if you wish. Okay, so that's essentially the instruction sheet. There it is then. You can see some of the thought processes that have gone in through the design to make it as simple as possible whilst still being a very good representation of a Shannon Class boat. They are quite complicated little things when you look at them. Lots of like aerials and masts and bits and pieces, and of course all the handrails, the safety rails, and all the detail on the deck. And most of it actually is pretty well represented here. So also should be good to see how it goes together. Oddly enough, the way that the kit goes together really quite well reflects the way the actual boat goes together. Anyway, I'll be dealing with that when I come around to doing the actual build, and that will be fairly soon. How will you know when it's on the channel? The best thing to do, make sure you've subscribed and hit that bell, and you'll get a notification of all my new content as it hits the channel. And of course, anything you see on my channel that you like, please give it the old imperial thumbs up there on the like button below, because every like counts. Thank you so very much for watching. Hope to see you on the channel again very soon. Take very good care now, and goodbye.